Have you ever paused to ponder what makes someone truly magnetic, not just in the bloom of youth, but in the rich autumn of their life? If you're between 65 and 80, you might think the days of captivating others are a distant memory, tucked away with old photographs and faded dreams. But here's a truth worth holding on to. Attraction doesn't dim with age. It deepens. It shifts from the surface to the soul, becoming a quiet, unspoken force that draws people in like the pull of the tide. This isn't about the fleeting dazzle of a youthful smile or a perfect silhouette. No, this is about silent attraction, a magnetism that whispers rather than shouts, rooted in the wisdom of years, the grace of experience, and the beauty of a life fully lived. In this video, I'm unveiling 12 habits that will transform you into someone silently attractive and irresistibly compelling, no matter how many years you've gathered. These aren't loud gestures or attention-grabbing stunts. They're subtle, powerful shifts that glow from within, pulling others towards you without a single word. Stay with me until the end. I'll share a mindset tweak so simple, yet so profound, it could change how the world sees you and how you see yourself. Along the way, I've woven in real stories from everyday people who've mastered these habits, proving they are not just ideas, but living, breathing truths. Before we dive in, if you're ready to unlock the secrets of timeless allure, please hit that thumbs up button. It's a small gesture that helps me keep sharing these lessons with more people like you. If you haven't subscribed yet, click that button and ring the bell. I've got more coming your way. Here's a little challenge. If this video sparks something in you, comment number 1 below. If it misses the mark, drop a number 0 so I can make it better next time. Let's get started. There's an undeniable allure in someone who steps into a space not with a clamor for attention, but with a steady, unshakable presence. Between 65 and 80, quiet confidence becomes your crown jewel, a superpower that doesn't need to announce itself. It's not about boasting achievements or proving your worth. It's the soft, radiant glow of knowing who you are, what you've endured, and what you still bring to the table. Picture a lighthouse standing tall against a stormy sea. It doesn't shout about its strength. Its steady beam cuts through the darkness, guiding ships home. That's you at this stage of life, unwavering, luminous, and silently powerful. In my years of watching people move through the world, I've seen how this quiet confidence sets the truly attractive apart. It's not about seeking validation or chasing applause. It's about shedding the weight of others' expectations, a burden many of us lug around in our younger days. At 65 to 80, you've earned the right to stand tall in your own skin. I think of my neighbor, Mrs. Eleanor, now 78. She's not the loudest at our community potlucks, but when she speaks, maybe a quiet word about planting roses or a gentle nod to a neighbor's story, the room shifts. Everyone leans in. Her calm assurance, built from decades of raising kids, tending gardens, and weathering loss, makes her a magnet. She doesn't demand attention. She commands it effortlessly. So how do you cultivate this? Start by looking back, not with regret, but with pride. Reflect on the storms you've sailed through, the late nights comforting a sick child, the job you fought to keep, the heartbreak you turned into strength. These aren't just memories, they're the bricks of your foundation. Write them down if you need to, or simply hold them in your heart. Then carry that knowledge like a secret treasure. When you walk into a room, let it straighten your spine, soften your gaze. You don't need to say, "I've lived a lot." Your presence will whisper it for you. This isn't about arrogance, far from it. Quiet confidence is humble, rooted in self-awareness rather than self-importance. It's the difference between a peacock strutting its feathers and an oak tree standing firm through seasons. People are drawn to the oak. They rest in its shade, trust its roots. I once watched an old friend, Tom 67, handle a tense family argument. While others raised voices, he sat back, sipped his coffee, and finally said, "We've all got our scars. Let's figure this out together." His calm cut through the noise like a breeze through smoke. Everyone exhaled, and the room turned to him. That's the magic of quiet confidence. It's a beacon without a blare. Try this today. Stand in front of a mirror and say, "I've earned this moment." Feel the weight of your years, not as a burden, but as wings. Then step out into your day, whether it's the grocery store or a grandkid's birthday party, and let that inner glow do the talking. People will notice. They'll feel it in the way you move, the way you smile. They'll wonder, what's her secret? But you won't need to tell them. Your quiet confidence will speak louder than words ever could, pulling them in like the moon pulls the sea. In a world drowning in chatter, there's something rare and precious about someone who truly listens. At 65 to 80, you've got a lifetime of conversations under your belt, some trivial, some life-altering. And that experience has quietly sharpened a skill most people overlook: active listening. It's not just hearing words, it's an art form, a gift you offer without fanfare. When you master it, you become a sanctuary in a noisy storm. And that's a pull no one can resist. Think about the last time someone really heard you, not nodding absently while scrolling their phone, but locking eyes, hanging on your every word. It's rare, isn't it? Now imagine being that person for someone else. Between 65 and 80, you've learned that people don't just speak with their mouths. They speak with their silences, their hesitations, their sighs. When you listen, truly listen, you catch those hidden notes, and that's where the magic happens. I met Harold, a 72-year-old retiree, at a coffee shop once. He barely said a word about himself, just asked, "What's the best thing that happened to you this week?" and waited. I rambled about a small win at work, and he nodded, smiled, asked more. By the end, I felt like he'd known me forever. That's silent attraction, connection without clamor. To paint this art, start with presence. Put down the distractions, your phone, your to-do list, and give someone your full canvas. Look them in the eye, not with a stare, but with a gentle focus that says, "You matter." Nod as they speak, lean in just a touch. These small strokes show you're not just waiting for your turn. You're there, in their moment. I've tried this with my grandkids, who usually chatter over each other. One day I sat with my youngest, Mia, 9, and just listened as she described her school project. No interruptions, no advice, just me and her words. She finished, beamed, and said, "You really get it, Grandpa." That bond, it's gold, but it's more than gestures. Resist the urge to jump in with your own tale or fix their problems. People don't always need solutions. They need space. If you've got a thought, tuck it away until they're done. Then ask a question that digs deeper. What did that feel like, or what happened next? It's like handing them a key to unlock more of their story. I remember a friend, Susan, 68, who did this at a book club. Someone shared a tough memory, and instead of chiming in, Susan asked, "How did you find the strength to move on?" The room went quiet, then alive with real talk. Susan didn't steal the spotlight. She lit it up for someone else. This takes practice. Our minds wander, our stories itch to spill out. But the more you hone this, the more you'll see its power. People start to seek you out, not because you're the loudest, but because you're the safest harbor. They'll say things like, "I don't know why, but I can tell you anything." And that's the secret. Listening isn't passive. It's an active, vibrant thread that weaves you into their world. At 65 to 80, you've got the patience and depth to master it. Use it and watch how it pulls people in, like a melody they can't stop humming. By 65 to 80, your life is a tapestry of lessons, some stitched with joy, others with tears. That wisdom is a river running deep, ready to quench the thirst of those around you. But here's the art of it. Don't pour it out like a lecture hall professor. Share it like a fireside storyteller, with humility and a twinkle in your eye, and you'll draw people in without even trying. It's not about being the sage on the stage. It's about being the guide by their side. I've seen this done beautifully by my Aunt Clara, who turned 80 last spring. She's lived through lean years, raising 3 kids on a shoestring, and even rebuilt after a house fire that took everything but her spirit. She doesn't preach, though. At family dinners, she'll sip her tea and say, "Back when we had nothing, I learned a nickel saved was a night's peace. What do you think about that?" No finger wagging, no you shoulds, just a nugget dropped like a pebble in a pond, rippling out for us to ponder. People lean in, ask more because she's not teaching, she's sharing. That's the pull of quiet wisdom. To do this, think of your life as a library, each chapter a book worth browsing. Pick one, a time you stumbled and stood up, a trick you learned the hard way, and offer it casually. Maybe you're chatting with a young neighbor struggling with rent. Instead of saying, "Save more," you might muse, "I used to stash $1 a week in a jar. Kept me sane when the bills piled up." Ever tried something like that? You're not the boss, you're the friend with a lantern, lighting a path they can choose to walk. I did this once with a coworker, years back. He was frazzled about a deadline, and I said, "I once missed a big one. Taught me to break it into chunks. What's your next step?" He relaxed, thought it over, and later thanked me. No lecture, just a seed. The beauty here is restraint. At your age, you could fill hours with advice, but less is more. Let your story breathe. Let them connect the dots. People don't want a rule book, they want a spark. I recall a man, Mr. Lee, 74, at a community garden. A kid was frustrated with wilting plants, and Mr. Lee didn't swoop in with fixes. He said, "My first tomato crop died too, then I learned the sun's trick. What's your soil like?" The kid perked up, dug in, and soon they were swapping tips. Mr. Lee's wisdom wasn't a hammer, it was a hand. This takes finesse. We love to solve, to show we know. But hold back. Your life's weight speaks louder than words. Share a piece, then listen. They'll come back for more, not because you demanded it, but because you invited it. At 65 to 80, your wisdom isn't just knowledge, it's a bridge, a quiet gift that links you to others. Offer it gently, and they'll cross it willingly, drawn by the warmth of your unassuming light. Aging isn't a shadow to shrink from, it's a crown to wear with pride. Between 65 and 80, every wrinkle, every silver strand, every mark of time is a testament to a life boldly lived. This isn't about hiding the years, it's about hoisting them high like a banner, declaring, "I've earned this." When you embrace your age, you don't just become attractive, you become unforgettable, a living story that others can't help but admire. Society might whisper that youth is the prize, bombarding us with creams and dyes to chase an impossible rewind. But let's rewrite that tale. Your years aren't a flaw, they're a masterpiece, painted with laughter, tears, and triumphs. I think of Margaret, a woman I met at 67, who refused to cover her gray hair. "This is my silver crown," she'd say, brushing it back with a grin that lit her face. She didn't blend into the crowd. She stood out, not because she tried, but because she owned every strand. People didn't just see her, they remembered her, drawn to the quiet power of her self-acceptance. To wear your age like this, start with a shift in the mirror. Look past the lines society calls flaws and see them as rivers carved by experience. Rivers that have carried you through storms and sunny days alike. I tried this once after a tough week. At 60-something, I caught my reflection and noticed the creases around my eyes. Instead of sighing, I thought, these came from laughing with my kids, squinting at sunsets. Suddenly, they weren't blemishes, they were badges. That shift didn't just lift my mood, it changed how I carried myself. Friends noticed, saying, "You look different, happier." It's not just about looks, it's about stance. Stand tall, shoulders back, as if your years are a mantle of honor. I saw this in a man named Paul, 79, at a family reunion. His hands trembled slightly, his hair was thin, but he moved with a dignity that hushed the room. When he spoke about his days as a teacher, his voice wasn't loud, but it carried the weight of decades. People gathered around, not for his volume, but for his presence. That's the crown of age. It doesn't need to shout, it reigns quietly. Try this today. Pick one sign of aging, maybe your gray hair or the way your hands show years of work, and reframe it. Tell yourself, this is my proof of living. Then step out, whether to the store or a friend's porch, and let that pride ripple through you. It's not arrogance, it's gratitude. People will feel it, like warmth from a hearth. They'll wonder at your ease, your glow, because you've turned time into an ally, not an enemy. At 65 to 80, that's your silent strength. A crown no one can take away, pulling others in with its quiet majesty. Generosity isn't about grand parades or lavish gifts. It's about the small, quiet acts that scatter joy like confetti on a gray day. At 65 to 80, your kindness becomes a signature, a thread woven into who you are, and it's a pull no one can resist. It's not loud or showy, it's the gentle rain that nourishes without flooding, leaving people refreshed and drawn to your light. I've seen this in action with Mr. Thompson, a 70-year-old widower from my old street. After his wife passed, he could have turned inward, but instead, he'd leave warm cookies on porches or spend an hour fixing a kid's bike tire. He never asked for thanks, just smiled and moved on. Neighbors didn't just like him, they adored him. His quiet giving made him the heartbeat of our block, a man you couldn't help but gravitate toward. That's the thing about kindness. It doesn't need a megaphone. It whispers and the echo lingers. To sprinkle this confetti, start small. It's not about your wallet, it's about your heart. Offer a compliment to the cashier who looks tired, hold a door for a stranger, or share a tip from your years of know-how. I did this once at a cafe. The barista fumbled my order, flustered, and instead of grumbling, I said, "No rush. My first job was a mess too. You're doing great." Her shoulders relaxed, and she grinned. That tiny spark didn't cost me a thing, but it lit up her day and mine. Kindness is a boomerang. It comes back in ways you don't expect. It's more than gestures, though. It's a mindset. At your age, you've seen enough to know life's too short for grudges or stinginess. Let that wisdom guide you. I remember a woman, Grace, 68, at a church supper. A young mom spilled gravy on her dress, mortified, and Grace just laughed, handed her a napkin and said, "I've spilled worse, makes for a good story." The mom laughed too, tension gone. Grace's ease didn't just fix a moment, it built a bond. People flocked to her table, drawn by her warmth. Try this. Today, do one small, unasked for act, maybe leave a note for a neighbor or call a friend just to say hi. Don't wait for a thank you, let the act be its own reward. That quiet generosity will ripple out, touching lives you might never see. At 65 to 80, your kindness isn't just a habit, it's a legacy, a confetti trail that brightens the world and pulls people in, not with noise, but with the soft glow of care. A curious mind is a flame that never flickers, and at 65 to 80, it's your hidden spark. Curiosity doesn't roar. It hums, asking questions, chasing wonders, keeping you tethered to the world's magic. People are drawn to those who still marvel at life, no matter the years, because it's a quiet youthfulness that defies time and invites connection. I met George, 68, a retired clerk who decided last year to learn guitar. He'd sit on his porch, fumbling chords, grinning at every sour note. "Ever tried this?" he'd ask passersby, not caring if they laughed. His eagerness wasn't loud, it was alive. Neighbors stopped, kids offered tips, and soon he had a little crowd. Not because he was good, but because he was curious. That spark pulled people in like moths to a lantern. I watched him once, plucking away, and thought, he's not just playing, he's exploring. That's the pull of curiosity. It's contagious. To keep this alive, ask yourself, what's something you've always wanted to know? Maybe it's how roses grow, what stars mean, Or why bread rises. Pick it up, not to master it, but to taste it. I tried this with painting at 62. I was terrible. Blotchy canvases everywhere. But I'd ask my niece, "What's this color say to you?" She'd giggle, we'd talk, and suddenly my messy art was a bridge. Curiosity doesn't need perfection. It needs wonder. That's what hooks people. The glint in your eye when you're lost in a what if. It's not just for you, it's for them. At a family picnic, I saw my cousin Ed, 75, ask his grandson, "How do those drones fly?" The kid lit up, explaining tech I'll never grasp, and Ed just nodded, wide-eyed. Later, the boy said, "Grandpa's cool, he wants to know stuff." Ed didn't fake it. His curiosity was real, and it built a bond. People crave that, not know-it-alls, but learners, even at your age. Try this. Today, pick one thing, a bird's song, a recipe, a news tidbit, and dig in. Ask someone about it, or Google it with a cup of tea. Let your wonder shine, quiet but bright. At 65 to 80, curiosity isn't just a trait. It's a lifeline keeping you young and pulling others close with its gentle, irresistible hum. A well-groomed appearance isn't about chasing vanity. It's about honoring yourself and those you meet. At 65 to 80, it's not about trends or flawless skin. It's about presenting the best you, polished like a stone smoothed by a river. That quiet care speaks louder than any fashion ad, drawing people in with its subtle dignity. I met Victor, 76, at a farmer's market once. His clothes weren't flashy, just a crisp shirt, pressed pants, polished shoes, but he carried himself with a grace that turned heads. "I dress for me," he said, "but it's nice when others smile." And they did. Vendors chatted longer, kids waved. His effort wasn't loud, it was a nod to the world, saying, "I'm still here, still caring." That's the thing, polish isn't perfection. It's respect, and it's magnetic. This isn't about money or youth, it's the basics. A neat haircut, clean nails, clothes that fit. I learned this from my dad, 70 then, who'd shine his boots every Sunday. "Doesn't matter if they're old," he'd say, "they can still shine." He'd walk to church and folks greeted him not for wealth, but for that quiet pride. It's not about erasing age, it's about framing it. A comb through your hair, a splash of cologne, and suddenly you're not just seen, you're noticed. It's deeper than looks though, it's how you feel. I tried this after a slump, picked a favorite sweater, ironed it, stood straighter. At the store, a clerk said, "You look sharp." I felt it too, lifted, ready. That polish boosted my step, and people responded. It's a cycle. Care for yourself, and the world mirrors it back. I saw this with a woman, Rose, 72, at a library. Her scarf was simple, her hair tidy, and she glowed. Readers lingered, drawn by her quiet poise. Try this. Today, pick one thing, shine your shoes, trim your beard, wear that shirt you love, step out and feel the difference. At 65 to 80, polish isn't about youth. It's about presence, a silent signal that pulls others in with its steady, shining grace. Humor is a bridge over life's rough waters, and at 65 to 80, it's a treasure you've earned. A good laugh, especially at yourself, cuts through tension like sunlight through fog. It's not about being the loudest joker in the room. It's about spotting the absurd in the everyday and sharing that lightness, a quiet gift that makes you irresistible. My Uncle Ray, 79, showed me this. He once tripped and over his dog, coffee flying everywhere. Instead of cursing, he chuckled, "Guess I'm dancing with chaos today." We all laughed and that moment stuck. Not because it was grand, but because it was human. His humor didn't demand attention. It invited us in. I've seen it elsewhere too. A friend, Joan, 66, locked herself out in her robe. She waved at neighbors, grinning, "Free show today." They didn't pity her, they adored her. That's the pull of laughter. It's a magnet, soft but strong. To wield this, look for the quirks. Life's messy, spills, stumbles, forgotten names, and at your age, you've seen it all. Laugh at it. I did this once, misplacing my glasses on my head. Instead of groaning, I said to my wife, "I'm a genius at hide and seek." She cackled, and the day lightened. It's not denial, it's defiance. A refusal to let small stuff weigh you down. People notice that resilience. They lean toward it like plants to sun. It's not just for you, it's for them. At a reunion, my cousin Bill, 73, told a tale of burning a pie, smoke alarm blaring. "Thought I'd invented smoked dessert," he quipped. The room roared, tension melted. His laugh didn't dominate, it united. Try this. Next time you goof, grin at it. Share it quietly, not as a stand-up act, and watch eyes crinkle, hearts open. At 65 to 80, humor isn't just a trait, it's a lifeline, a silent song that pulls others close with its joyful, unassuming tune. Authenticity is a rare star in a sky of masks, and at 65 to 80, it's yours to shine. When you live true to yourself, your values, your quirks, your core, people feel it like a steady pulse. It's not loud rebellion, it's quiet integrity, a flame that doesn't flicker, drawing others in with its unwavering light. I knew Lila, 71, who never minced words. "I've lived too long to nod at nonsense," she'd say, but always with a smile. Once at a town meeting, folks pushed a plan she didn't buy. She stood, calm, and said, "I've seen quick fixes fail. Let's think this through." No rant, just truth. People didn't argue. They respected her, even disagreed. Her honesty wasn't harsh. It was refreshing, a breeze through stale air. That's authenticity's power. It doesn't shout, it stands. To live this, embrace your edges. You're not here to please everyone. Your years have taught you that. I learned this late at 63 when I stopped saying yes to things I hated. At a party, someone pushed me to dance. I'm awful. I laughed, "I'll spare you the horror. Let's talk instead." They grinned and we did. Being me didn't push them away. It pulled them closer. Your truth isn't a wall, it's a window. It's not easy. Pressure to conform lingers. But resist. I saw this with Sam, 77, a vet who wore his old cap despite snickers. Fought for it, he'd say, quiet but firm. Kids asked. Adults listened. He became a legend, not for noise, but for roots. Try this. Today own one thing, your laugh, your opinion, your style. Let it shine, soft but sure. At 65 to 80, authenticity isn't just you, it's a beacon, a silent call that draws others with its honest, unshakable glow. Purpose doesn't fade at 65, it blooms anew. At 65 to 80, it's not about scaling mountains, it's about tending gardens, a quiet drive that gives your days meaning. Whether it's knitting for a cause or teaching a grandkid to fish, purpose is your compass, and its gentle pull makes you a force others can't ignore. My cousin Edith, 66, found this after retiring. She started knitting blankets for shelters, not for praise, but for warmth. Her hands danced with yarn, her heart with intent. She didn't boast, but folks noticed. Neighbors donated wool, kids asked to help. Her quiet purpose wasn't loud. It was a hearth, drawing people to its glow. I felt it too. Volunteering at a food bank at 64, I sorted cans, chatted with folks. It wasn't grand, but it lit me up and others saw it. "You're always here," a worker said. That steadiness pulled them in. To find this, ask, what stirs you? It's not about size, big dreams, or small joys, it's yours. I tried gardening 68, just herbs at first. I'd potter, smell the basil, share sprigs. Friends lingered asking, how'd you grow that? Purpose doesn't need a stage, it needs heart. I saw this with Jim, 80, who fixed clocks for free. Keeps me ticking, he'd say. Customers didn't just pay, they stayed, drawn by his quiet mission. Try this. Pick one thing. Plant a seed, write a note, help a friend. Do it with love, not fanfare. At 65 to 80, purpose isn't a sprint. It's a stroll, a silent song that fills your days and pulls others close with its gentle, enduring hum. Life's sweetest notes hide in the quiet moments. The chirp of a sparrow, the warmth of a mug, a stranger's smile. At 65 to 80, slowing down to savor these gems makes you a haven of peace, a pull no one can resist. It's not loud gratitude, it's a soft reverence, a dance with the everyday that lights you up from within. I watched Mrs. Patel, 75, embody this. Every morning she'd sit on her balcony, tea in hand, watching the sunrise. She'd wave at neighbors, her face a canvas of calm joy. People didn't rush by, they stopped, chatted, drawn to her stillness. I tried it once, 67, after a hectic day. Sat outside, felt the breeze, heard the leaves. My pulse slowed and my wife joined me, saying, "This is nice." That pause didn't just heal me, it connected us. Small joys aren't small, they're vast, quiet seas of calm. To live this, notice. The world's a gallery, colors, sounds, scents. I walked a park once, saw a duck waddle, laughed. A kid nearby giggled too, and we swapped ducktails. That spark wasn't planned, it was savored. It's not about ignoring pain. Life's got plenty, but balancing it. My friend Anna, 70, lost her husband, yet she'd sit by her roses whispering, "You'd love this bloom." Her joy wasn't loud. It was a lifeline, and we all felt it. Try this. Today, pause, taste your coffee, feel the sun, hear a bird. Let it sink in. At 65 to 80, these joys aren't fleeting. They're anchors, a silent call that draws others with their tender, unshakable peace. Your years are a vault of wisdom, and at 65 to 80, you're a living compass. You don't need to preach. Your life whispers lessons. Be a guide, not a guru, and watch how people lean in, drawn by your quiet strength, like travelers to a steady star. My grandfather, 80, showed me this. I'd lost a trip spiraling, and he sat me down. "I've been broke too," he said, sharing a tale of odd jobs and grit. "You'll find your way." No sermon, just a story, a hand. I stood taller and still carry it. He didn't demand I listen, he offered and I took. That's the pull, soft, sure, irresistible. I saw it with Maria, 73, too. She'd tell her grandkids, "I fell plenty, kept walking." They'd ask, "How?" And she'd smile. One step. They adored her, not for noise, but for light. To do this, share gently. Pick a moment, your first failure, a big win, and drop it like a pebble. I did this with a niece, 20, fretting college. "I flunked a class once," I said, "found my footing later." "What's your next move?" She opened up and we grew closer. It's not about answers, it's about paths. At 65 to 80, your life's a map. Point, don't push. Try this. Today, tell someone a piece of your story, quietly with a question. Watch them light up. Your wisdom isn't a crown, it's a lantern, a silent guide that pulls others close with its warm, steady beam. Let's pause for a moment and meet some real people who embody these habits. First, there's Doris, 69, from a small town in Ohio. After losing her husband, she could have retreated. Instead, she started a book club, not with fanfare, but with a quiet invite to neighbors. Her confidence, her listening, her kindness turned that club into a community hub. People didn't just come for books, they came for her. Then there's Javier, 77, a retired mechanic. He spends Saturdays fixing bikes for kids in his neighborhood, laughing at his rusty hands and sharing tales of his youth. His humor, his purpose, his authenticity make him a local legend, without him ever seeking the spotlight. These stories prove it. Silent attraction isn't a theory. It's alive in people like you, waiting to shine. So Epi, what's the takeaway? Between 65 and 80, your allure isn't gone. It's deeper, richer, quieter. It's in the way you carry your years like a crown, sprinkle kindness like confetti, and listen like it's an art. It's in your laughter, your purpose, your truth. True attraction isn't loud. It's a whisper that echoes in hearts long after you've left the room. I hope these 12 habits have sparked something in you. Maybe it's the courage to embrace your age, the nudge to share your wisdom, or the reminder to savor the small joys. Whatever it is, take it and run with it. You're not just aging, you're becoming, and that's irresistible. If this video moved you, please drop a number 1 in the comments and tell me, which habit will you try first? If it wasn't your style, a number 0 helps me improve. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let's build a community of silently attractive souls together. See you in the next one.